All right, what's going on, guys? This is Jake with Fitness Insider, and I got some awesome topics on the menu tonight, so definitely stick around. I think you'll be happy that you did. So, the first thing I want to talk about tonight is Greene. Now, I know, right, a lot of you guys are tired of hearing about a potential Greene return, and believe me, guys, I'm right there with you. I'm so over wondering if this guy's coming back, because he's kind of teased it every year, and obviously has never came back yet. Now, the difference is we have a lot of drama going on right now concerning Greene and what he's been posting, and we're going to get into that. And even more importantly, we're going to get into the reason why I think he may actually do it this time. So, if you're not familiar, I'm going to give you a small debriefing of what's been happening. So, this video was basically the biggest reason of the controversy. Greene posted this a while back, claiming this was his most recent 2020 physique, which, as you can tell, very impressive. The dude looks as good as he did in 2016 Arnold Classic, which, guys, that's phenomenal. You know, that was a very good showing for Greene. Now, the problem is the fact that there's been a couple guys on YouTube that did some digging, and they've come to believe that this is actually old footage that Kai is trying to pass off as new. Now, I'm not gonna take a stance on this. I'm not gonna try to wage any wars against Greene. I really do like Greene, all right? Even though I get upset with all the teasing and the deceitfulness there, I do understand where he's coming from. He's trying to stay relevant, even though I don't agree with the tactics. I don't think that is a way to stay relevant. I think you need to be true and honest with your fans, and they will follow you, despite the fact that you're not competing anymore. But despite all that, let's just not worry about whether the video is new or old. We all know Greene is 300 pounds. We all know the guy never let off the gas. He's been working out consistently, carrying mass, and in pretty dang good condition all year round. So many of the top guys in the industry have seen Greene over the last couple of years, saying that he's no more than a month out from a show at any point in the year. So a lot of people must think that he looks good, okay? So despite this video. Now, that alone is not enough reason for me to actually believe that he's coming back. The reason that I'm actually excited is I just watched a recent interview with George Farah and King Kamali, where George Farah said that he is 90% sure that Greene is going to step on stage again soon. Now, George Farah is his coach, a guy that is super close with Kai. They're in communication constantly. I believe there's even pictures being sent and everything. So, I mean, that says a lot when his coach actually, because, I mean, we all know that Kai's been kind of misleading in the past about this, but when his coach actually gets behind that and says that he thinks he's doing a 90% sure that he thinks that Greene's getting on stage, I think that's at least enough to warrant a comeback. So, I just wanted to go ahead and point that out, and I do want to ask you guys, okay, if you take the frustration out of it with all the misleading stuff in the past, you guys tell me, man, do you think he has what it takes still to come back in the, let's just say the Olympia 2020, maybe we have Shawn Rhoden back, maybe we have Phil Heath back, Big Ramy back. Now, let's be honest, guys. You tell me, in a lineup like last year plus the missing guys, do you think Greene in 2020 is dangerous? Do you think he could compete with these guys? I personally, it's hard to say. If this video was actually recent, I think yes. I think the dude would be still very dangerous and definitely could win. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that he's not going to be as complete as we're used to seeing him. And but either way, I think the dude's always going to be dangerous, and I'm excited to see if he's going to come back. All right, guys, and moving on to our next order of business, we're going to be talking about all the big news concerning the Mr. Olympia. So, I do understand that a lot of the guys that watch this show, a lot of the people that watch this show, they basically do not follow the daily news and the unfolding story of what's going on here. So I'm going to try to encompass all the changes from the beginning of the year till, current. So let's go back a little bit to the beginning of the year. This is perhaps the biggest piece of news. AMI was the previous owner of the Mr. Olympia. Well, that has now changed. We have a guy by the name of Jake Wood who has purchased the Mr. Olympia, and from what I understand, I do believe he is the sole owner. So if you really think about the implications of what that means, right? You got AMI, which is a business, it's a, you know, a big entity, transferring ownership to a singular person, right? And not only is it just one owner now, who seems to be well funded, you know, this guy happens to be a big bodybuilding fan, from what I understand. So, again, the implications are amazing. Really think about what that can do for the biggest show, the Super Bowl of all bodybuilding shows, is now in the hands of one owner who happens to love the sport of bodybuilding and wants to give back to the sport. So, and he's well funded. So, I mean, I think we're really in store for big improvements for the show. And then pair that with the fact that Dan Solomon, who's awesome, by the way, is working close with this guy. And I think we're really going to see a lot of big changes for the better. And that actually leads me into the next portion here. Normally, the Mr. Olympia is held at the New Orleans, and I'm going to go right on record and tell you guys I've never been to Vegas, so I'm not super familiar, so correct me if I'm wrong on a couple of these things. But from what I've heard, the New Orleans is basically on the outskirts of Vegas, and it's not in, like, the Central Strip area. So a lot of people think that that detracted from, like, the value and the prestige of the show. And not to mention that the convention was basically halfway across town, so people had to really take taxis and Ubers and stuff to travel back and forth, and it sounded like a big hassle. And again, this is not a jab at the New Orleans. Apparently people really do think that they did a good job, and they really tried to provide good services to the Olympia. But now, with the new ownership and with everything going on, they actually moved the venue to the Planet Hollywood, which apparently is basically right in the center of the Strip. Again, this is huge because not only from what I've heard, this place is gorgeous, man. This place is set up perfectly for a show like this. It is in the center of the Strip. It really adds to the prestige of the show, and it should be a prestigious show. This, again, is like the Super Bowl of all bodybuilding shows. So this is an amazing thing. This is enough to really make anybody who's never been there, including myself, actually want to go and attend this. Now, the last piece of news here is also a big deal. So, a lot of people were wondering, you know, what's the qualification going to be like? When is the show actually going to happen? Because if it is in September, like normal, a lot of these guys are not going to be able to qualify in time, or their prep is going to be really hindered because of this. Well, because of that, they have extended the show, postponed it until December 16th to the 20th. So basically mid-December. That gives these guys plenty of time to get ready. And another awesome part to that, they actually delayed the qualification deadline to October 18th. So to me, guys, I think that was an amazing move. You know, I think September was a prime time for the show, but I think it was a very smart move to push it to December, to mid-December, to give these guys as much time and to really let the economy kind of get back on track with everything that's been going on. So I think it was a smart move, and I think overall it's really going to benefit the show. So guys, I think we're in for an awesome show this year, and I of course will try to keep you guys updated with all the big news that's unfolding around this. Alright guys, and moving into the final story, perhaps the biggest story, definitely the thing that I am most excited to talk about, is a potential return to the 2020 Mr. Olympia stage by Shawn Rhoden. Now, Shawn, I think, is one of the most exciting bodybuilders to follow these days because, you know, whether you agree or not, the dude has a world-class physique. The dude looks phenomenal, and looking at last year's lineup, it was definitely missing a few of the big names, and it would have been much more exciting to have people like Shawn and Phil and Rami back. So to have somebody like Shawn coming back would definitely spice things up a lot. So I really do want to see this guy back on stage. Now, the discussion of him coming back is nothing new. What is new is basically Shawn released a video on his YouTube channel. I think he titled it like Breaking News or something, where he said he had a phone call with Dan Solomon and Jake Wood, and it said, I want you guys to check that video out yourself just so you can see, but because he kind of talks away from the microphone, it's kind of hard to hear exactly what he's saying, but it sounds like he said it ended on a positive note. That much I could hear for sure, but and the next time he's going to step on stage is at the 2020 Mr. Olympia. So to me, that sounded like he had a very good outcome from that phone call, and we all know the circumstances regarding why he did not compete last year. Those circumstances, to my knowledge, have not yet been cleared up. So in order for that to be a positive outcome from that phone call, I would imagine one of two scenarios. I would think that either A, Shawn got some insight into the case that looks positive for him, or B, maybe Dan and Jake said, hey, until if that case is maybe a year down the road or whatever, maybe they said, hey, until that case happens, we will let you come back and compete. And remember, Jake Wood is now the new owner of the Mr. Olympia. Even though AMI did not want Shawn Rhoden competing, Jake Wood might change his mind and say, hey, we want Shawn Rhoden competing, even if the case is still not taken care of yet. So I think it's one of those two things. I could be completely wrong, but either way, it looked like Shawn was super stoked about it, and I, of course, would love to see Shawn return to the stage. I am a firm believer of innocent until proven guilty. I don't want to talk about the case stuff much, but I do want to say that I think we should give the guy his day in court, take it one day at a time until then. So anyways, guys, that's the end of the video. Thanks for sticking around. If you like what you see, definitely hit the subscribe button. I'll have more coming out soon. I will see you on the next one.